Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of Martial Universe episode number 31 based on novel. So let's start. Lin Dong did not try to retort the Black Shadow's words, but merely smiled. At the same time, he did not show any signs of handling over the tree veins symbol obediently. Undoubtedly, Lin Dong's actions further ashened the Black Shadow's facial expression. Upon seeing this scene, Mo Ti and the rest's faces turned pale. Even though they had witnessed how Lin Dong fared in his confrontation with Hua Yun outside of the Thunder Granite Valley, that was merely a wager. Right now, they were in a different situation. It was clear that this Black Shadow was not a benevolent individual. If Lin Dong did not hand over the tree veins symbol, he would not let the matter rest. Compared to Mo Ti and his counterparts' pale faces, even though Mo Ling and the other rest's hearts were racing, they still believed in Lin Dong. From the day they stepped into the ancient battlefield, Lin Dong had performed numerous miracles for them. It was as if the number of trump cards up his sleeves were endless. The atmosphere in the spacious stone chamber froze and tensed up. Indistinctly, there was a chilling aura dissipating throughout the temple, causing one's face to be unnerved. Lad, you have lost your final opportunity to beg for my forgiveness. The tensed atmosphere continued for a moment before the Black Shadow slowly opened his mouth. Upon hearing these words, Mo Ti and the rest were shocked. Apparently, this Nirvana stage practitioner was getting impatient. Bang. With an ice-cold glare, the Black Shadow took a step forward. Immediately, a surge of Yuan power swept forward and speckles of golden light gushed under his skin. Without showing any signs of executing any martial arts, he jolted his body and became a fuzzy luster, and blasted a thunderbolt-like punch towards Lin Dong. The air exploded under the power of his punch. Nirvana stage practitioners possessed the real Nirvana golden body, which was their most powerful weapon. Even a half-stepped Nirvana stage practitioner would not dare to resist such a powerful individual. It was clear that the Black Shadow did not intend to hold back his attack. The sonic boom from his punch was sharp and tricky, and it was aimed directly at the vital point of Lin Dong's chest. If his punch landed on its target, it would definitely blast a bloody hole in the target's body. Lin Dong's figure was thrown back violently, and at the same time, tiny explosions could be heard coming continuously from his body. Clearly, his body had been invaded by an extremely powerful force. Such terrifying power was enough to crush a half-stepped Nirvana stage practitioner's body. However, even though Lin Dong's body was thrown back by the attack, he did not show any signs of being seriously injured. Instead, under such a powerful attack, the golden glow on his body became increasingly brilliant. Action thump. Finally, Lin Dong's body slammed viciously onto a huge pillar. Immediately, numerous cracks extended throughout the thick and solid pillar. It was at this moment that Lin Dong could finally stabilize his body thoroughly. Upon seeing Lin Dong did not show any signs of being seriously injured after taking such a powerful punch from the Nirvana stage practitioner, Mo Ti and the rest sucked in a deep breath of cold air while feeling puzzled at the same time. Nirvana golden body. In the mid-air, the Black Shadow stared at the faintly discernible golden glow beneath Lin Dong's skin too. Soon after, he came to a realization and sneered, "No wonder you are so arrogant. It seems that you have a Nirvana golden body-like body transformation martial art. However, I can tell you that you are too gullible to believe you can contend against a Nirvana stage practitioner with your martial art alone." As soon as he finished his sentence, the entire body of the Black Shadow erupted with an extremely dazzling golden radiance. The intensity of such radiance was numerous times stronger than Lin Dong's lesser Nirvana golden body. Let's see how many times your imitation Nirvana golden body can withstand my attacks. This time around, the black figure activated all the powers of his Nirvana golden body as he burst into an attack abruptly. A somber look appeared on Lin Dong's face as he looked at the increasingly magnifying golden radiance in his eyes. After the previous direct confrontation, he understood the prowess of a Nirvana stage practitioner. He could only make use of his lesser Nirvana golden body to put up a slight resistance. Ultimately, he could not use it to contend against the Black Shadow. No matter what happened, his capabilities paled in comparison with a Nirvana stage practitioner's. The sight of a golden figure, who was overwhelmed with mountain-like power, was expanding rapidly in the eyes of Lin Dong. That kind of pressuring gale that accompanied the attack was creating numerous cracks on the floor around Lin Dong. Lin Dong quickly escaped from there. Mo Ti and the rest screeched till their hearts went up their throats when they saw what was going on. Clearly, the Nirvana stage practitioner, had went all out on this attack, and he was going to kill Lin Dong, trying to escape. A piercing laughter came from within the golden radiance. As he looked at Lin Dong's calm face, and thought of how the face was going to be wrecked later on, a twisted bloodlust delight arose in his mind. Finally, this figure slammed fiercely onto the wall of the temple. As his body gave way, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Mo Ti and the rest then fixated their gazes on this figure. What they saw petrified their bodies. Their eyes were popped out as if they had seen a ghost. That was because the sorry figure, who was shot out from the clouds of dust and spat out a mouthful of blood, was the mysterious Nirvana stage practitioner. Mo Ti and the rest's minds seemed to be in the state of stupefaction, as they stared blankly at this sight. Even the Black Shadow himself raised his head in disbelief, as he wiped off the blood stain on his mouth and glared rigidly into the clouds of dust. This situation continued for a short moment, before the rustling sound of footsteps came through the clouds of dust. They then turned their heads stiffly, and saw a figure walking slowly out of the clouds of dust. The calm face on the figure remained unwavering. Mo Ti and the rest's gazes rested upon Lin Dong's calm face. At this moment, they suddenly discovered that there was a tall figure standing behind Lin Dong like a loyal bodyguard. As they shifted their gazes to that tall figure, they discovered that its entire body appeared to be blazing with flames. They could not clearly see its features, but could vaguely sense a powerful energy coming from it. This put their minds in a state of shock. After a while, mutterings that contained traces of extreme shock and astonishment began to come out from their mouths. Nirvana stage practitioner, the blazing figure stood silently behind Lin Dong. Even though it did not make any movements, it still gave off a faint energy wave that unnerved one's heart. At this moment, the messy stone chamber was absolutely silent. Regardless of who it was, Mo Tai, Mo Ling or the black-clothed Nirvana stage practitioner, all of them were staring at the blazing figure behind Lin Dong in astonishment. How can there be a Nirvana stage practitioner by his side? Mo Tai and his counterparts mumbled unbelievably to themselves. They had never seen Lin Dong with a Nirvana stage bodyguard before, and from the Mo Ling trio's surprised faces, it was clear that they were similarly in the dark, a soul puppet. So this is your trump card? The black-clothed Nirvana stage practitioner said with an hoarse and gloomy voice, as he slowly wiped off the traces of blood at the corners of his mouth. He was far more experienced than Mo Tai and the rest. Thus, he could sense that the blazing figure did not have any life force like a human. It was then clear to him that the blazing figure was some kind of soul puppet. However, even so, the black-clothed Nirvana stage practitioner's heart could not help but twitched violently, and he stared at the blood soul puppet with both fear and greed. Even he himself did not possess such an excellent artifact, soul puppet. Upon hearing these words, Mo Tai and the rest were stunned. Soon after, they came back to their senses and looked enviously at Lin Dong. This kind of artifact was extremely rare, and they never imagined that Lin Dong would possess one in his arsenal. It was also now that they finally understood why Lin Dong could stay composed when he was facing Ling Ji and Liu Yuan. It turned out that he possessed such an intimidating force up his sleeves. One soul puppet was sufficient to contend against a Nirvana stage practitioner. With such an unconventional Nirvana stage practitioner as a bodyguard, why would Lin Dong be afraid of Ling Ji and his counterparts? Lin Dong did not reply as he chuckled. He turned to stare at the black-clothed Nirvana stage practitioner, smiling a little as he asked, "So what are you going to do next?" Upon hearing these words, a cold light immediately surfaced in the eyes of the black-clothed Nirvana stage practitioner. However, after seeing the blood soul puppet beside Lin Dong, he had no choice but to repress his anger. From the previous confrontation with the blood soul puppet, he understood that if a fight broke out, the soul puppet would thrash him terribly. Furthermore, there was still Lin Dong eyeing him covetously from the side. The current situation had turned unfavorable for him in a flash. Very clearly, he had to put off the idea of seizing the tree vein symbol for now. "Lad, don't be too pleased with yourself. By offending my Devil Cliff Empire, I'm afraid you will not have an easy time in the future. A mere soul puppet will not be able to safeguard you in the ancient battlefield." The black-clothed Nirvana stage practitioner glared coldly at Lin Dong while grinning in a sinister manner. Devil Cliff Empire. Upon hearing this name, Lin Dong did not have much of a reaction. Instead, it was Mo Tai and the rest whose facial expressions changed drastically. When they saw Lin Dong's relaxed face, they could not help but softly speak in unison. "Lin Dong, I'm afraid there might be some troubles this time around. I have heard of the Devil Cliff Empire before. This empire is a powerful existence even among the high-rank empires. It is impossible for these empires to have only a single nirvana stage practitioner. Furthermore, these people are extremely vengeful. If you offend them, they will definitely seek revenge. According to my intelligence, there was once a high-rank empire that was completely wiped out by them. After hearing these words, Lin Dong's eyes turned a little solemn. Looks like the Devil Cliff Empire was indeed a formidable faction. Mo Tai could only laugh bitterly without saying anything after he saw how Lin Dong downplayed the whole incident. After these few days of contact with Lin Dong, he understood that Lin Dong was enigmatic and unpredictable. With the power of the mere peak manifestation stage, Lin Dong was able to engage in a direct confrontation with a nirvana stage practitioner, and even possessed a formidable guardian in the soul puppet. Perhaps only an individual like Lin Dong would not be afraid of a great power like the Devil Cliff Empire. Let's go, there should be other artifacts in this stone temple. All of you should not leave here empty-handed, Lin Dong laughed, dismissing the topic of the Devil Cliff Empire. He took a look at the stone chamber, which was in a complete shambles. Many elixirs in the chamber had been destroyed during the fight, therefore, they could only venture to other parts of the stone temple. Action. After Lin Dong finished his sentence, he waved his hand and returned the blood soul puppet to the stone talisman. Afterwards, he left the stone chamber and walked along the corridor that led to other areas. Behind him, Mo Ling, Mo Tai and the rest rushed to catch up. The party traveled through the complex maze-like stone chamber. Along the way, they managed to reap some benefits as well. In some of the stone chambers, there were heaps of nirvana pills. Instead of taking these pills, Lin Dong let Mo Tai, Mo Ling and the rest divide them among themselves. After all, he had already obtained the tree vein symbol which he needed desperately. If he could refine it, his mental energy could break through to the heaven symbol master stage. When that moment came, he would be able to face real nirvana stage practitioner alone, without any help from the blood soul puppet. Within half an hour of traveling through the corridors in the stone temple, Mo Tai and the rest had a rather bountiful harvest. Their faces were filled with contentment and excitement, obviously thinking about how they had benefited from this trip. Furthermore, with Lin Dong overseeing them from the side, they did not have to worry about other factions snatching the treasures they had found. After all, the current Lin Dong could not be stopped even by a nirvana stage practitioner. Let's go. Therefore, when the main chamber appeared before Lin Dong's eyes, he waved his hand without any hesitation and led the rest into it. The main chamber was extremely vast and spacious and looked like a huge coliseum. Currently, there were already numerous groups in the main chamber. Lin Dong glanced around and spotted Ling Ji, Liu Yuan and their counterparts, who had unexpectedly arrived at the main chamber too. On their left were the two groups from the Millennial Ice Empire and Great Crow Empire. Lin Dong then took a sweeping glance around the main chamber. After a while, his gaze stopped at a particular area of the main chamber where 5 black figures were gathered. Even though they were few in number, Lin Dong could sense that even Hua Yun, Wu Mo and their counterparts were deathly afraid of them. The sudden appearance of Lin Dong and his counterparts attracted many gazes. One of the black figures turned around as his expression instantly darkened. He was the one who previously failed in his attempt to seize the tree vein symbol from Lin Dong. Lin Dong shot a glance at the black figure as a menacing smile appeared on the latter's face. It was as if a rabbit had entered a wolf's lair, an extremely sinister sight. However, the black figure's sinister smile did not have the slightest effect on Lin Dong's mental state. Lin Dong continued scanning the place until his gaze finally stopped at the deepest area of the main chamber. There was a light orb floating in that spot. Within the light orb was a weirdly shaped, key-like object that was emitting an unusual glow. Ancient secret key. As Lin Dong stared at the object within the light orb, his pupils immediately shrunk. At the same time, he could feel even little Martin becoming excited inside the stone talisman. Right now, due to the sudden appearance of Lin Dong's group, everyone in the main hall immediately shifted their attention. When Ling Ji, Liu Yuan and the rest saw Lin Dong, they were mildly delighted. After all, Lin Dong also came from Yang City. Therefore, compared to the rest, they definitely had an additional degree of trust in him. With regards to Hua Yun, Wu Mo and the other black shadowy figures, they only casually glanced at him. Regardless of how spectacularly well Lin Dong performed at the outskirts of Thunder Granite Valley, in their eyes, he still did not amount to anything. Senior Mu, that is the fellow who snatched the heavenly symbol spirit tree. However, just as they were about to look away, among the black shadowy figures, one of the Nirvana stage practitioner, who had previously fought with Lin Dong, stared venomously at him, before he turned to a lean man in front of him and said, when they heard his words, with the exception of Lin Dong's group, everyone in the main hall was stunned. Promptly, a peculiar glint flashed across their eyes. That black shadowy figure was able to match up to Hua Yun, yet Lin Dong was able to snatch away something from him. One wonders if this implies that Lin Dong is truly exceptional, or if that black shadowy figure was useless. Peak manifestation stage. That man called Senior Mu gently lifted his head, before he revealed his pale yet fearsome face. After he glanced at Lin Dong, he casually remarked, Senior Mu, that fellow possesses an extremely powerful soul puppet. I have fought against it. That black shadowy man seemed to have detected the displeasure and rage in Senior Mu's words as he quickly explained, soul puppet. After he spoke, in the main hall, several people's hearts shuddered. Promptly, none of them dared to look down at Lin Dong anymore. Instead, a solemn expression filled their eyes. Everyone knew how powerful a soul puppet was. Even the weakest soul puppet was able to match up to a Nirvana stage practitioner. Therefore, this peak manifestation stage kid actually possessed such a powerful trump card. In the main hall, the atmosphere here quietened down due to his sudden interference. Moments later, all of them recovered their senses. Following which, countless pairs of eyes stared fervently at the glowing ball deep inside the main hall. Lin Dong's eyes were also focused on that glowing ball. Promptly, his pupils gently shrunk before he once again scanned his distant surroundings. Following which, he realized that there were actually several lifelike stone statues situated around the walls of the main hall. However, what puzzled him was that those stone statues seemed alike and they had only differing expressions. Hua Yun, Wu Mo, for this trip to obtain the mysterious ancient key, my Devil Cliff Empire must succeed. If the two of you are willing to let us have it, our Devil Cliff Empire can establish a pretty good relationship with both of your empires. Just as Lin Dong scanned his surroundings, that lean man named Senior Mu suddenly spoke slowly. When they heard his words, Hua Yun and Wu Mo gave a fake smile before they said, Chen Mo, your request is a little too much. We have put in so much effort in order to obtain the mysterious ancient key. If you want us to back off based on your words alone, wouldn't it be a joke? Though the Devil Cliff Empire had a fearsome reputation, the Hua Yun duo were no ordinary individuals. Therefore, it was silly for Chen Mo to expect that they would back off based on his words alone. Right now, in this arena, their two empires had the largest team. Meanwhile, the Devil Cliff Empire had only 4 other men besides Chen Mo amongst the 4 of them, beside the Nirvana stage practitioner that previously fought with Lin Dong. The remaining 3 of them were only at half step to Nirvana stage. Therefore, comparatively speaking, there was a gap between them. The two of you had better not push it. A while ago, the Great Bone Empire, who is almost as powerful as your empires, offended our Devil Cliff Empire. In the end, all of them were brutally slaughtered. Beside Chen Mo, that Nirvana stage practitioner venomously said. There was a blatant threat hidden within his words. How about you try it then? Do you really believe your Devil Cliff Empire can run over the entire ancient battlefield? Hua Yun was evidently outraged by that man's words. Immediately, his expression darkened as he shouted out. Just as Hua Yun got angry, standing behind him, the elite Millennial Ice Empire practitioners' expressions darkened before cold auras faintly emerged. Are you guys really at Nirvana stage? However, when he heard Wu Mo's words, a strange smile suddenly appeared on Chen Mu's face. Meanwhile, there was a peculiar golden glow flowing in the deepest corner of his eyes. The two of you probably only used 200,000 Nirvana pills when you attacked Nirvana stage. However, when I attacked Nirvana stage, I used 500,000 Nirvana pills. Therefore, you must be dreaming if you think you can match up against me. Chen Mo's expression was icy cold. As he took a step forward, a resplendent golden glow gushed out from every pore in his body, before an exceedingly powerful shockwave swept forth. His powerful aura enveloped the entire arena, 500,000 Nirvana pills. When they heard this number, in the main hall, everyone's faces changed. In fact, even Lin Dong's expression was shaken. He naturally knew that the Nirvana chi inside one's body would become more powerful as more Nirvana pills were used. Therefore, before they passed through any Nirvana tribulations, this was used as a benchmark for them. Furthermore, the formidable shockwaves that gushed out from Chen Mu's body was evidently much more powerful than the Nirvana stage practitioner beside him. In fact, it was far more powerful than Hua Yun or Wu Mo. This Devil Cliff Empire is truly wealthy. After all, 500,000 nirvana pills is an astronomical number in Lin Dong's eyes. Just as his heart shuddered, Lin Dong's footsteps had already stopped in front of a stone statue. As his fingers gently traced across it, his eyes instantly narrowed, before thick awe filled his eyes. Lin Dong, be careful. This main hall is a little strange, and there seems to be an extremely obscure vibration inside these stone statues. Just as shock and confusion flowed in Lin Dong's eyes, little Martin's voice suddenly rang out in his heart. Right now, Hua Yun and Wu Mo finally recovered their senses. Instantly, their expressions changed before they were about to make a move. However, it was evidently too late. Right now, Chen Mu's palm had already touched the key inside the glowing ball. However, what shocked him the most was that the instant he made contact, his palm passed right through, just as if that glowing ball did not exist. Crack. This sight caused everyone to be stunned. Just as they were all bewildered, a soft crackling sound suddenly emerged in the main hall. Amidst that crackling sound, Lin Dong's pupils shrunk violently. That was because he saw the stone statues stationed on the stone walls were actually slowly standing up. Meanwhile, a vibration that did not lose out to a nirvana stage practitioner emerged from their bodies. That is not the mysterious ancient key, but the key to a trap. This thought flashed lightning quick across Lin Dong's mind. The entire large hall began to tremble at this moment. Meanwhile, those stone statues that lined up with walls seemed to have come alive, as they slowly stood up. However, what caused everyone's expression to change drastically was that the aura emitted from these stone statues did not lose out to a nirvana stage practitioner. This sudden sight first shocked the crowd, before they all promptly sucked in a breath of cold air. There were a dozen over statues that leapt out from the wall. That was to say, there were more than 10 nirvana stage opponents. Quickly retreat. Who are you? Wu Mo and the rest's expression changed drastically, before they promptly shouted out quickly. A dozen over nirvana stage stone statues was enough to completely annihilate them. When they heard their commands, the men from the Millennial Ice Empire and Great Crow Empire quickly retreated as they tried to leave the large hall. Bang! Nonetheless, just when they were about to make a move, 2 stone statues suddenly landed right in front of the large hall's entrance and directly blocked off the door. When they saw this sight, everyone's heart sunk. All of them finally realized that this large hall was a trap. Once anyone touched the key within the glowing ball, it will activate the trap. Following which, the stone statues will release an terrifying energy and completely annihilate everyone within. Evidently, everyone within the large hall had a grim expression. Even that Chen Mu, who boasted that he used 500,000 nirvana pills to attack nirvana stage, had a steely green expression. He understood that against 15 stone statues that were as powerful as a nirvana stage practitioner, though he was a so-called 500,000 pills nirvana stage practitioner, even if he used 1,000,000 nirvana pills, he would still be pummeled into shreds. Brother Lin Dong, at this juncture, it is best if we cooperate. Currently, Mo Ling, Liu Yuan and the rest also wisely cushioned up to Lin Dong. When he saw this sight, Lin Dong did not know whether to laugh or to be angry. Those guys were clearly trying to take shelter behind his soul puppet. However, at this juncture, his blood soul puppet would likely have little impact. After all these stone statues were even more powerful than nirvana stage practitioners. Right now, the large hall was basically split into 3 factions. The first one is Yang City, the next is Millennial Ice Empire and Great Crow Empire, and the final one is the Devil Cliff Empire. However, disregarding which faction they belong to, the one that had to be most wary of is the nirvana stage stone statues that were lurking after them. The frozen atmosphere in the large hall did not last for a long time, before those stone statues began to tremble violently. Following which, their footsteps rumbled as they charged viciously towards the crowd in the large hall. Perhaps it was because they felt that Lin Dong's faction was the weakest. There were only 2 stone statues charging towards them. Nonetheless, it was enough to cause Ling Ji and the rest's faces to turn solemn. I will take care of one statue, and I will leave the other one to the 2 of you. The rest of you quickly back off. As he stared at those intimidating stone statues rushing towards them, Lin Dong tilted his head before he shouted at the Ling Ji duo. Action, all right. When they saw Lin Dong volunteer to handle one stone statue, the Ling Ji duo viciously gritted their teeth. The both of them were almost nirvana stage practitioners, and if they combined forces, they should be able to match up against a nirvana stage practitioner. The only thing that had to hope for was that no other statues would attack them. Else, they would be completely wiped out. Lin Dong did not speak anymore. That was because that pressurizing stone statue had already charged towards him. Immediately, his figure flashed before he dashed out. As his feet executed supreme purity sky wanderer steps, his body transformed into a wisp of green smoke before he dodged that attack. At the same time, Ling Ji and Liu Yuan pushed the Yuan power in their bodies to their limits, before they clashed valiantly against another Nirvana stage stone statue. Boom. Boom. That stone statue waved its large stone fists, before it viciously swung its fists at Lin Dong. Meanwhile, the air beneath its fist was directly compressed before it transformed into a formless shockwind and viciously surrounded Lin Dong. Right now, Lin Dong's expression was exceedingly solemn. Though there was a golden glow flowing beneath his skin, that terrifying incoming shockwind still hurt his skin. In fact, if it were a half-step to Nirvana stage practitioner, just this shockwind alone would probably be enough to kill him. Lin Dong did not plan on fighting head-on with that stone status. He utilized his supreme purity sky wanderer steps, as he continuously avoided that stone statue's powerful attacks. However, that incoming shockwind still caused his skin to hurt. Nonetheless, he could feel that thanks to this formidable pressure, the golden glow beneath his skin was becoming more solid. Lin Dong, this is not checkmate, and there must be a way to resolve this situation. Furthermore, the mysterious ancient key has yet to appear, and it must have something to do with the solution. The key to resolving this situation must lie in this large hall. Just as Lin Dong was busy avoiding the stone statue's attacks, Little Martin's voice suddenly sounded out in his heart. When he heard Little Martin's words, Lin Dong's eyes narrowed. The latter had been through a lot, and it was extremely wise and experienced. Therefore, Lin Dong always had a certain degree of trust in Little Martin's advice. Immediately, his eyes swept across the large hall. Behind him, that stone statue that was attacking him seemed to have detected something as well, as its footsteps rumbled while it chased viciously after Lin Dong. Lin Dong's figure sped across the large hall just like an arrow before he quickly appeared in front of that stone status. Then, without further ado, he viciously bit his teeth before he rammed his fist against that stone statue. A golden glow flowed beneath Lin Dong's fist. After his vicious punch, that stone statue was immediately filled with countless cracks, before it exploded with a loud bang. The instant that statue exploded, a glowing ball shot out violently from within that statue. Meanwhile, the instant that glowing ball appeared, every statue in the large hall suddenly froze before they transformed back into lifeless statues. This sudden change took everyone by surprise, before they all turned to look at Lin Dong, only to see a peculiar glowing ball that had just shot out. Lin Dong, grab that item. It is the mysterious ancient key. Right now, Little Martin's delighted voice sounded out inside Lin Dong's heart, and caused a tinge of delight to surge into his eyes. It seems like it was right after all. Although the bundle of light's appearance was very sudden, there was no one in the place who did not have keen senses. Thus, the instant the light bundle appeared, numerous gazes immediately swept over, before everyone's pupils abruptly shrunk. The bundle of light squirmed. Within it, an exquisite mysterious key was faintly discernible. A unique undulation spread outwards, causing one's heart to tremble. Mysterious ancient key. A spark flashed in everyone's minds. In the next moment, practically everyone suddenly rushed forth and ferociously grabbed at the light bundle, ignoring the relentlessly chasing Nirvana nest stone statues. Upon seeing this, Lin Dong coldly chuckled. He was the one who had solved the puzzle. How could he let these fellows enjoy the final reward? Previously, when that soft noise rang out, Lin Dong had already swiftly dashed forward. He was the person nearest to the light bundle, hence, he was naturally the first to grab it. Kid, you plan on dying. When the fastest person, Chen Mu, saw the light bundle that was just about to be snatched away by Lin Dong, a vicious look immediately surfaced on his stern face as he shouted. From his point of view, Lin Dong was practically not even worth talking about. If the latter did not possess a soul puppet, Chen Mu would have taken action long ago, and directly shred Lin Dong into pieces. However, Chen Mu never imagined that after Lin Dong offended their Devil Cliff Empire, not only did he not flee for his life, he instead still dared to snatch away food from the jaws of a tiger. His actions undoubtedly totally pissed off Mu Chen. However, his vicious threat clearly had no effect on Lin Dong. If he was truly afraid of the Devil Cliff Empire, he would not fight over the heaven symbol spirit tree. Since there was already enmity between them, why would it matter if he deepened it a little? Thus, the corners of Lin Dong's curled in response to Chen Mu's shout as he firmly grabbed the light bundle. The instant Lin Dong's hand touched the light bundle, it abruptly shivered before a formidable energy exploded, directly blowing away Chen Mu and the rest who were about to arrive. In contrast, Lin Dong did not feel any impact at all. A pillar of light extended from the light bundle, quickly enveloping Lin Dong. In the next moment, Lin Dong's figure had strangely disappeared under Chen Mu and the rest's alarmed and furious gazes. The sudden appearance of another person caused Lin Dong to tense up. However, he promptly realized that there was no trace of life in that figure. Evidently, it was only a corpse. Lin Dong's figure flashed before he appeared in front of that corpse. After he quickly took a glance at it, he was promptly shocked to realize that corpse was still completely intact. If it were not for the fact that there were no traces of life within, anyone would have mistaken it for a live human. Nonetheless, this was not what shocked Lin Dong the most. Instead, he found out that the corpse's appearance was actually identical to the stone statues in that large hall. This man must be the owner of the stone hall. Lin Dong's eyes glimmered before he looked down. Then, he saw that there was actually an old yellow key in that corpse's palms. That key could be held by two palms, and it looked like it was made from a rather unique material. It looked like wood, yet it was not wood. At the same time, there were several peculiar tattoos inscribed on it. Faintly, a heart-palpitating sensation emerged from it, mysterious ancient key. When Lin Dong saw that ancient wooden key, his eyes lit up immediately. Even though he had already seen a strange key in that stone hall previously, when this key appeared, he immediately knew that he had seen the real deal. Lin Dong's eyes were burning red. This time around, he did not hesitate at all as he directly reached for that mysterious ancient key. However, the instant Lin Dong stretched out his arm, a powerful shock wind emerged from behind him. This sudden development caused Lin Dong to be shocked. However, he promptly jerked his hand, before a red glow shot out from within his palm and transformed into a sturdy figure before it shielded his back. A crisp sound echoed out, while an alarming shockwind swept forth, and it actually caused Lin Dong to retreat several steps. Finally, he lifted his head up solemnly and glanced towards the distance. Immediately, his expression froze. That was because the person he saw was not Chen Mu, Hua Yun, or the rest like he had expected. Instead, it was a lady dressed in a red skirt. That lady had a slim and alluring figure, and she looked extremely elegant. Her overflowing ink-like black hair, and her beautiful face that looked just like a cherry blossom gave off a seductive tinge. Together with her beautiful and alluring eyes, she caused one's heart to flutter. This was the first time Lin Dong saw such a beautiful lady at the ancient battlefield. Ha ha, this little brother, this sister is also after the mysterious ancient key. How about you let me have it? That lady dressed in red smiled as she looked at Lin Dong. Her voice was extremely playful and seductive. Therefore, even though her request was completely outlandish, it was difficult for anyone to be angry at her. When he heard her words, Lin Dong released a dry smile. Thankfully, he was not a man who would completely lose his senses after meeting a beautiful lady. Furthermore, he was clearly aware that his lady was no simple pushover. Action, since this sister sounds so magnanimous, how about you don't snatch my tool? This does not fit your image as a classy lady. Lin Dong smiled as his eyes glanced at that mysterious ancient key in the hands of that corpse. This sister is no saint, therefore I do not have to act like a classy lady. In fact, I prefer to be an unreasonable bitch. That lady dressed in red smiled coyly. Promptly, she gently gripped her soft jade-like hands before a fiery red whip immediately appeared. As she gently swung her whip, it seemed like it was even able to forcefully blow apart the surrounding air. Meanwhile, the vibrations emitted from it caused Lin Dong's pupils to shrink. It seems like this lady was even more powerful than Chen Mu. That lady dressed in red grinned as she stared right at Lin Dong. Meanwhile, her fiery red whip was just like a snake as it deftly coiled around her body. At the same time, a formless pressure emerged from her body and caused Lin Dong's body to feel sluggish. This woman is not going to be easy to deal with, heh. Chen Mu and the rest are definitely still outside waiting. Even if you obtain the ancient mysterious key, you will still be unable to leave. Lin Dong's gaze swiveled as he spoke. Chen Mu. Demonic Cliff Empire. When she heard his words, that lady dressed in red gently pursed her lips and revealed a tinge of pride and nonchalance. However, she did not elaborate. Instead, she stared at Lin Dong before she smiled and said, "Little brother, do you want to abandon it, or do you want to play with this big sister? I believe based on your soul puppet alone, it would be a little difficult to stop this sister, since you want that mysterious ancient key so much, I would not be a gentleman if I continued to fight with you. Lin Dong shrugged his shoulders. The words that he spoke caused that lady in red clothes to smile. However, she promptly disposed Lin Dong in her heart. She did not like men who backed off so easily. Then, let me thank this little brother, of course. This lady dressed in red clothes would not express her true intentions. Instead, she coyly smiled, before she jerked the whip in her hand and targeted the mysterious ancient key in the palm of that corpse. However, the instant that whip lashed out, that blood soul puppet, that was quietly standing still, suddenly shot out, before its vicious fist wind unceremoniously slammed against that lady. Since she had already lashed out her whip, it was not possible to recall it to defend herself. Nonetheless, this lady dressed in red clothes was fairly skilled, and she only took a few steps back, before she managed to deftly avoid the blood soul puppet's attack. At the same time, the whip in her hand missed its target and landed on the ground beside the corpse and left a crack on it. Just as that whip landed on the ground, Lin Dong's figure lightning quick appeared beside that corpse. Then, he stared at that lady dressed in red clothes, whose beautiful eyes were now burning in rage, before he softly said, "My apologizes, in my opinion, the mysterious ancient key is more attractive than you." After he spoke, his palm immediately grabbed onto that mysterious ancient key. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.